Our goal is to put this into vertex form. And for us to go into vertex form, we're going to use a method called completing the square. So the first thing I want to do, and I'll try to write some steps as we go, is I want to isolate the x term. And what that means is I'm going to move the only term to the other side. So I'm going to do that by subtracting 3. So I have y minus 3 equals x squared plus 2x. And I'm going to move that 3 back over shortly. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take half of this term. Now, this video we're looking at the leading coefficient of the x squared being 1. The next video will show you what's going to happen if it's not 1. So I use a method called half and squared. I'm going to take half of this term. Well, half of 2, a positive 2, is a positive 1. And then I'm going to square that term. 1 squared is 1. So step 2, we're going to take half and square it. Half the middle term and square. Alright, so what we did right now is on the right hand side, we added this 1. Well, an equation has to be balanced. So if I add 1 to the right hand side, I also have to add 1 to the left. And when I do that, I get y minus 2 equals the x plus 1 squared. So what we did for step 3 is however much I added to the left or to the right, I have to add to the left. I have to keep it balanced. The last step is to get y by itself. So I'm going to add 2 back to the other side. So y equals x plus 1 squared plus 2. So step 4 is to get y by itself. So now I can find my vertex. My vertex is the opposite of this, which is -1, comma the outside, which is 2. So if I did a simple sketch of -1, 2, knowing that this is positive because this number right here, there is nothing, so it's going to go up like this. So I can state some other things. The axis of symmetry is x equals -1. Let's go, the domain is all real numbers. The range is going to be y and the y value, and because everything is greater than that vertex, it's greater than or equal to. Let's try this process again. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 6 to both sides because I want to isolate my x terms. So I have y minus 6 equals x squared minus 4x. So that was step 1. Step 2, we're going to take half of this term. Half of -4 is -2. And -2 squared, and -2 times -2 is a positive 4. And if I add it to the right side, I also add it to the left side. So I have y minus 2 equals x minus 2 squared. Next step, I have to move this 2 over, so I'm going to add 2 to both sides. That will cancel, and I have y equals x minus 2 squared plus 2. So now if I made a simple sketch, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my vertex. My vertex is the opposite of this, which is 2, comma the outside, which is 2. So my vertex is 2, 2, and it's going to go up. My axis of symmetry is x equals the x value, which is 2, and the domain is all real numbers. The range is going to be my y value and my y value here, and since everything's above the vertex, it's going to be greater than or equal to 0. If it asks you if you have a minimum or a maximum, in this case I have a minimum because I have a bottom of the graph.